Hello, this is Junsong Su, and today I want to talk about my week 9 assignment. So in this code, I created a game of war, the card game, Game of War, and it needs two players. And each in this game, we have a deck of cards with 52 cards, and in this program, it deals out 26 cards, shuffled cards to each of the player, and then each player take turns to draw the end of their cards and show the the person with larger value wins the round. At the end of the game, also it's namely 26 rounds. The person with more points wins the game. So this is how this program do. So at its first, I created the class card class and with properties of suit, name, and value. And the next part is the class of deck. So in this class, I have I have properties like I have a array cards array. I created empty array and suits because in a deck of cards it has hearts, spade, diamond, and club, so it has these four suits. And the name of cards has ace 1, ace 2, 3, all the way to jack, queen, king. And the value of the cards in this game, the ace is represents 14 points, and it's also the largest card. I mean the card with the largest value, and the card with the lowest value is number 2. And then these are the values for the cards, so we can know which person, when they compare with their cards, we know which person has more value. And also in the class of deck, I also created some functions. The first function is created deck. So in this function, I use two for loops, and it runs through first the first loop. It runs through the suits. The second the four suits, and the second loop it runs through all the names, basically from ace to king. So what does this function do is in each suit, let's say heart, it will add all the names from ace to king to heart, and then move on to spade. Excuse me. It will add ace to king to spade, and ace to king to diamond, and ace to king to club. At the end of the function, it returns the card. And also, so each of the card it creates, it will push to the array I created here. This cards array, as you can see here. And in each card, it's for the class of card. It has suit, it has name, and it has value, and it returns this cards array. So this this is what this function do. And then after we created a deck of 52 cards, we need to shuffle the cards. So I found online a function. It tells you how to shuffle the array. So I used this function. And the next is the deal cards function in the the deck class. What does this function do is it will deal the same number of cards to each of the two players. So basically 26 cards and deal it to each of the player. So in this function, I use the splice method of array. So what does the splice method do is it will cut from the index of 0 and 26 cards and then give it to one of the player one, player one, or you can say player at the index of 0. Also in this function, I use a for loop instead of pushing the array this into this player one hands. In this case, excuse me, in this case, the player at index 0, each of the card is on an object instead of an array. So that makes the program easier at the later point. So this is the same for the second player. So it cuts the deck in half and then gives the 26 cards to the second player and then push, like, because I use this method of push to the second player hands. Then I created the player class. In this class, I have the name of the player. The points is at the beginning it's 0, and the hands is how many cards left in the player's hands. And in the next part is the game class. So it's also the menu for this program. And I have the players array, empty array. And the first function in this class is start. So at the beginning of the game, the program will ask the player to ask the user to enter the first player's name and enter the second player's name. Then this function will push the first player's name and use the players class and push the name of the first player into this player's array, and it's same for the second player. And then after that, it will say declare war, player 1 and player 2's name. And let's try it out to see what it looks like in the browser. If I refresh it, you can see here it says welcome to the game of the war, and then it will ask for the player's name. Let's say the first player is Tom. Okay, and then the second player is John, and it will say declare war Tom John. So this is where it is. And after that, it will create a new deck, the shuffle the deck, and it will deal the cards to both of the player 1 and player 2. That's why I have these parameters. The first parameter is for the player's array. The second parameter is for the shuffle the deck. After that, we will use the play game function I will introduce later, and also we will use the end game function. Let's look at it. So play game function, what does this do is, first I created two variables. The player 1 is equal to the player at index of 0. The player 2 is the player at index of 1. Then I have two variables. One is the round winner. So each round we compare the card's value and see which one is the winner. So this is an empty string. And then I let turn is the variable. So it starts at 0. After that, I use while loop. So while player 1's hands, the cards in player 1's hands the length is not is not equal to 0 and player two's hands, the number of cards is not equal to 0, then it will run this. So that's the player one's cards equals to, so I created two variables. The first variable is player one cards. So what does this line do is it use the pop method. Pop method it removes the last item in the array and create a new array. So but why do I put 0 here? Because if I do not put 0, this is an array, it's not an object. But I want object, so that makes my program easier at the later. So I can use the properties easy. So it's the same for the second player. I draw the back of the cards and then put it into this variable player two cards. So this will, and next part is I will compare the value of both cards if the and I use the if condition. If the value of the first player's card is more than the second player's card value, then the round winner is equal to first player's name and the first player points, which plus 1, so we can keep track of who gets how many points. And then it will cancel out the term. Let's see. Let me run this so we can see better. And you can see here. So basically what does this do is it will while loop, so it will run 26 runs and compare the cards, the last card in player one's hand and player two's hand, and to see who wins each round. And then you can see it tells you who wins each round. Let's look at turn event. It keeps track of the number of turns and tells you this one, cancel block. It tells you this is how many turns, and player one, the card is what is the card, player two, what is the card, and compare its value because 7 is more than 4, so it has more value, so the winner is in this one is John. So it keeps track of that. And I want to use about this function, end game function. So I create 4 variables. First, game winner. I create a string, empty string, so that we can use later. And because it's a new function, so I need to pair one. I need to use this variable, this player at index 0, and player 2, and this winner points, I set it at 0 at first for this variable. So basically what does the end game function do? It will compare at the end of the game who has more points. Let's say if player 1 has more points, so it will tell you game over and who, and then game winner becomes player 1's name, and game winner's point becomes player 1's point, and it tells you player 1 wins the game, won the game, and tells you what's the final points. And you can see it tells you what's the final points. Tom got 11 points, John got 13 points. Thank you for playing. Else, if the player 2 wins, has more points, then game winner becomes player 2's name, game winner's point becomes game player 2's points. And there's another situation is when there is a tie. So both players got the same number of wins in each round. In this situation, it will tell you game over, tied game, and tells you the final score is player 1, how many score, player 2, how many score. Thank you for playing. At the last, I just let it run, so I create a variable game equals new game and use a function start, then the game keep going. Let's look at it again. Okay, and I refresh. Welcome to Game of the War. And the first player's name is, let's say this time we use Kim. And the second player uh, is Rod. Okay, it said declare war Kim Rod. And game over, Kim won the game. Final score is Kim got 13 rounds win, Rod got 18 rounds win. Thank you, play. And in the console log, you can see each round's more details. So this is my program for today. Thank you for watching, and thank you. Bye.